Max Donovan, a successful businessman and car enthusiast, had it all until the day his prized $3 million hypercar was wrecked. The shocking part: his girlfriend Ashley was the one behind the destruction. What seemed like a random act of rage hid a deeper, more shocking motive. As Max struggles to uncover why Ashley would do something so extreme, he's dragged into a tangled web of lies, betrayal, and revenge. But in a city where appearances are everything, not everything is as it seems. Will Max get the answers he's looking for, or will the truth leave him shattered? Max Donovan was living the Miami dream. His sprawling mansion overlooked Biscayne Bay, and his collection of luxury cars was the envy of the elite. But the crown jewel of his collection was his custom-made, one-of-a-kind Pagani Huayra, valued at $3 million. Max had always been passionate about cars, often saying they were more than machines, they were art. His girlfriend, Ashley, wasn't as impressed. She'd tease him about how he loved his cars more than anything else, but her words always carried a playful tone, never malice. Or so Max thought. The night before the destruction, Max hosted an extravagant party at his mansion, inviting Miami's socialites and influencers. Ashley seemed distracted, scrolling through her phone and occasionally sneaking glances at Max. When he asked her what was wrong, she brushed it off, smiling faintly and telling him everything was fine. The next morning, Max was jolted awake by the sound of a crash. Rushing outside, he froze in disbelief. His beloved Pagani was destroyed. The once pristine car reduced to mangled metal. Standing near the wreckage was Ashley, her face streaked with tears, holding a sledgehammer. "Why?" Max demanded, his voice trembling with shock and anger. Ashley's response would change everything. Max stared at Ashley, his mind racing. She didn't look angry. She looked heartbroken. Her trembling hands dropped the sledgehammer to the ground with a thud. For a moment, there was silence, broken only by the gentle waves lapping against the dock in the distance. "You wouldn't understand," Ashley finally whispered, her voice cracking. "For you don't see it, do you?" "See what?" Max shouted, gesturing wildly toward the wrecked car. "Ashley, this isn't just a car. It's my life's work, my passion. What on earth were you thinking?" Ashley's tears began to flow freely now. "That's the problem, Max. It's always your life, your work, your passion. But what about me? What about us? You've been so caught up in your world, I've been invisible to you." Max took a step back, his chest tightening. He had heard her frustrations before, but he never thought it ran this deep. "So you thought destroying the one thing I care about would fix everything?" he shot back. Ashley's face hardened. "No, Max. I wanted you to feel something. Because lately you don't feel anything for me." Her words hit him like a gut punch. But this was just the beginning. Ashley's reasons ran deeper than Max ever imagined. Max stood there, his breath uneven, trying to process Ashley's words. He wanted to shout, to demand answers, but a gnawing guilt began to creep in. Was she right? Had he been so wrapped up in his world that he'd neglected her? Before he could respond, Ashley spoke again, her voice sharper now, filled with an emotion Max couldn't quite place. "This isn't just about us, Max," she said, crossing her arms defensively. "It's about what you've been hiding." Max's heart skipped a beat. "What are you talking about?" he asked, his voice low and steady, though his mind raced. Ashley gave a bitter laugh. "Do you think I'm stupid? The late-night calls, the business trips that don't add up, the constant texts you're so careful to hide. I saw the messages, Max." Max's face went pale. The accusation hit him like a freight train. "Ashley, I don't know what you think you saw, but stop lying," she snapped, her eyes blazing. "It's her, isn't it? That client of yours, the one you always talk about like she's some kind of goddess." Max felt like the ground had shifted beneath him. He had no idea Ashley had been digging into his personal life, or that she had drawn such dangerous conclusions. "You've got it all wrong," he started, but Ashley cut him off. "Do I?" she asked coldly. "If I'm wrong, prove it. But until you do, maybe you should think about why this car meant more to you than fixing what's broken between us." Max's world was unraveling, and this was only the start. Max was shaken. Ashley's accusations felt like a storm crashing into his carefully curated life. He glanced at the wreckage of his beloved car, the shattered glass reflecting fragments of his own confusion. He needed answers, and fast. "Ashley, this is insane," Max said, his voice trembling with equal parts anger and desperation. "I've never lied to you. Whatever you think you've seen, it's not real." Ashley crossed her arms, her stance defiant, but her eyes filled with pain. "Then why don't you tell me where you were last weekend? You said it was a business trip, but I called your assistant. She didn't even know you were gone." Max's jaw tightened. He remembered that weekend vividly. It wasn't a business trip. It was something far more personal. But he couldn't tell Ashley. "Not yet. You wouldn't understand," he said quietly. Ashley's laughter was hollow. "There it is. That's always your answer, Max. You keep me at arm's length, and then you wonder why I'm standing here destroying the only thing you seem to care about." Before Max could respond, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He hesitated, but Ashley caught the flicker of panic in his eyes. "Go ahead," she said bitterly. "Answer it. Let's see who's so important." Max pulled out his phone, his hands trembling. The name flashing on the screen made his blood run cold. "Victoria." Ashley's gaze hardened. "Well, Max, who's Victoria?" she demanded. Max knew the truth about Victoria could destroy everything, but keeping it hidden might cost him even more. Max gripped his phone tightly, his mind racing. If he told Ashley the truth about Victoria, it could destroy her trust forever, but lying would only deepen the wedge between them. "Ashley," he began, his voice unsteady. "It's not what you think." But Ashley's expression was clear. Her patience had run out. Max took a deep breath, his mind scrambling for the right words. Ashley's unwavering gaze cut through him like a knife. He could feel the weight of her anger and hurt. But there was something else in her expression, fear, as if she was bracing for her worst suspicions to be confirmed. "Victoria is my sister," Max finally said, the words tumbling out hesitantly. Ashley blinked, caught off guard. "Your sister?" she repeated, skepticism dripping from her tone. "Yes," Max replied, forcing himself to meet her eyes. "She's been out of my life for years. We had a falling out, and last weekend I went to see her. I didn't know how to tell you because it's complicated. I didn't want to drag you into it." Ashley stared at him, searching his face for signs of a lie. "Why would you hide something like that from me?" she demanded, her voice soft but heavy with disappointment. "Do you know how it felt to think you were cheating on me?" Max sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't think you'd understand. She's not just my sister, Ashley. She's dangerous." Ashley took a step back, her confusion deepening. "Dangerous? What do you mean?" Before Max could explain, a car screeched to a halt outside the mansion. The sound of footsteps echoed closer, and Max's expression darkened. "She's here," he whispered, his voice laced with dread. Ashley's heart raced. "Victoria?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Max nodded grimly. "Stay behind me, Ashley. You're about to find out why I wanted to keep her a secret." The front door flew open, and a woman stepped into the room. Victoria Donovan. She was strikingly beautiful, with sharp cheekbones, piercing green eyes, and an aura that exuded confidence. Her presence was electric, but there was a coldness about her that sent a chill through Ashley. "Well, well," Victoria said, her voice smooth and calculated. "Looks like I arrived just in time for the fireworks." She glanced at the mangled remains of Max's prized Pagani, her lips curling into a smirk. "Nice car. Shame about what happened to it." "Victoria," Max said, his voice strained. "This isn't the time." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I think it's exactly the time. I warned you, Max. Secrets have a way of coming out." Ashley stepped forward, her anger bubbling to the surface. "What is this? What are you talking about her?" she demanded, her eyes darting between Max and Victoria. Victoria's smirk widened. "Did he tell you why I'm dangerous? Or was he too busy pretending to be the perfect boyfriend?" "Victoria, stop," Max snapped, his voice trembling with frustration. "This isn't about her." Victoria ignored him, her gaze locking onto Ashley. "You think you know him, don't you? The charming, successful businessman. But did he tell you how he got that car, how he built his empire?" Ashley looked at Max, confusion and doubt clouding her expression. "What is she talking about?" she asked. Victoria leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Ask him about the deal he made, the one that ruined lives and almost ended mine." Max's fists clenched, his face pale. "Victoria, don't." But Ashley wasn't backing down. "Max," she said firmly, "what deal? Tell me the truth now." Max felt trapped, the walls of his carefully guarded life closing in on him. Ashley stood firm, her eyes filled with determination, while Victoria's presence loomed like a storm ready to break. He could see there was no way out, but through. The truth. A truth he had buried for years. "Fine," Max said, his voice heavy with resignation. He turned to Ashley, his hands trembling. "I didn't build my business on hard work alone. I made a deal years ago with some very dangerous people." Ashley's face twisted in shock. "What kind of deal?" Max glanced at Victoria, who was watching him with a mixture of satisfaction and bitterness. "A financial backer came to me when I was desperate. They gave me everything I needed to start my company, but the terms were steep. They didn't just want money. They wanted control. I thought I could outsmart them, but I was wrong," Victoria interjected, her voice icy. "Wrong doesn't even cover it. They came after me when Max couldn't pay his dues. They ruined my life, Ashley. I had to leave the country to survive." Ashley took a step back, her face pale. "You put her in danger? How could you?" "I didn't know they'd target her," Max exclaimed. "I thought I could handle it on my own. By the time I realized what they were capable of, it was too late." Victoria's expression hardened. "And now they're back, Max. That's why I'm here. They want what you owe them, and they won't stop until they get it." Ashley looked between them, her chest heaving with emotion. "So what now? Are we all just sitting ducks waiting for them to come after us?" Max's jaw tightened. "No. This time I'm not running. I'm fighting back." The weight of Max's declaration hung in the air. Ashley crossed her arms, her voice trembling as she spoke. "Fighting back? Against people who destroyed your sister's life? Max, this isn't some corporate rivalry. You're dealing with criminals." Victoria let out a sharp laugh, shaking her head. "Oh, he knows exactly what he's dealing with. He's just finally realized that there's no running from them. They don't forgive and they don't forget." Max turned to his sister, his voice firm. "Victoria, I'm not the same man I was back then. I've spent years preparing for this moment, and I'm not letting them take anything else from me or from you," Ashley interjected, her voice rising. "You spent years preparing? What does that even mean, Max? How much of your life is a lie?" Max stepped closer to her, his eyes pleading. "I didn't want this to touch you, Ashley. I kept it from you to protect you, but now I need your trust. We don't have time for this." Before Ashley could respond, Victoria's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and froze. "They're here," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The room fell silent. Max immediately sprang into action, rushing to lock the doors and secure the windows. "Ashley, stay with Victoria," he ordered. "I'll handle this." Ashley grabbed his arm, her fear boiling over. "You can't just handle this alone, Max. They'll kill you." "They won't," Max replied, his voice cold and steady. "Because they don't know what I've been hiding." From a concealed safe in the wall, Max retrieved a black duffel bag. Inside were files, a burner phone, and something Ashley never expected to see: a gun. "I'm done running," Max said. "This ends tonight." The mansion was cloaked in a tense silence, broken only by the distant hum of cars from the Miami streets. Outside, shadows moved under the dim glow of streetlights, an approaching storm of danger. Max tightened his grip on the gun, his face a mask of determination. "They'll come through the front," Max muttered, scanning the room for cover. "Ashley, stay low. Victoria, keep your phone ready to call for backup if this goes south." Ashley knelt behind the overturned couch, her heart pounding. "Max, this is insane. You don't have to face them alone." Max glanced at her, his expression softening for just a moment. "If I don't stand up now, they'll never stop. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about all of us." A loud knock echoed through the house, making everyone jump. "Donovan!" A voice boomed from outside. "We know you're in there. Come out or we'll come in." Victoria tensed, her face pale. "They don't bluff, Max. If you open that door, it's over." Max exhaled slowly. They think they've already won. That's their mistake. He reached for the burner phone in the duffel bag and typed a quick message before tucking it back inside. Suddenly the front door burst open, splintering under the force of a heavy kick. 3 men in dark suits stormed in, armed and ready. Max stepped forward, gun raised, his voice calm but commanding. "This ends now." Before they could react, floodlights from outside lit up the house and sirens blared. "Freeze!" shouted a voice from a megaphone. The men turned, stunned, as police stormed the property. Max smirked, lowering his weapon. "I called in reinforcements. Did you really think I didn't plan for this?" As the men were handcuffed and led away, Ashley ran to Max, tears streaming down her face. "You did it!" Max pulled her close. "It's over. Finally." As the sun rose over Miami, painting the skyline in shades of gold and pink, the chaos of the night felt like a distant memory. The police had arrested the men who had come for Max, and with the evidence he had secretly gathered over the years, the entire operation behind them was now under investigation. For the first time in years, Max felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Standing on the balcony of his mansion, Max stared out at the calm waters of Biscayne Bay. Ashley joined him, her hand resting gently on his arm. "You should have told me, Max," she said softly. "I would have stood by you." Max turned to her, guilt and gratitude shining in his eyes. "I know," he admitted. "I thought I was protecting you by keeping you in the dark, but I see now that all I did was push you away. I'm sorry." Ashley nodded, her expression softening. "Just promise me one thing. No more secrets." "No more secrets," Max said firmly. He leaned down, pressing a kiss to her forehead, silently vowing to rebuild their trust. Inside, Victoria was packing her things. As she prepared to leave, Max approached her. "Thank you for showing up last night. I couldn't have done it without you." Victoria gave him a small, bittersweet smile. "You're my brother, Max. Despite everything, I couldn't let them take you down. But this is your fight now." Max nodded, watching as she left, hoping their relationship could one day heal. As Ashley and Max stood together, he glanced at the remains of his Pagani in the driveway. "Time for a fresh start," he said with a wry smile. Ashley squeezed his hand. "Let's make it one worth remembering." And for the first time in years, Max felt hope. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more thrilling tales. Don't forget to share it with a friend who loves a good twist. See you in the next story.